Hi, I'm Herb Cepeda. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to review this information. You know, opportunity is much more than being at the right place at the right time. It's being at the right place at the right time in your life when you not only recognize that a certain opportunity exists, but when you're willing to take action. I can't answer that second part, but I can expose you to some socio-economic trends that are occurring today that can define opportunities. You see, my wife Patty and myself have been involved in the network marketing industry for the last 23 years. We know this industry almost inside and out, and we can tell you something about almost any company in this industry. But over the last 17, we did not participate. 17 years, we did not participate in the industry. Why? Because we saw flaws with every company. And so today, we're going to expose you to a company that we believe have no flaws. Now, I should remind you or let you know that I am not a professional speaker, nor do I claim to be the most eloquent person in the world, because I'm not. But I do have a vision, and I do see something that very few people have seen so far. But I believe if you're exposed to it properly, you can catch that same vision. 48 months ago, Patty and I were exposed to a company by the name of Isogenics. And over the course of the last 48 months, the company has rewarded us by paying us in excess of $2 million. So it is a viable opportunity with a company that's poised to go from small to big real fast. And they're dealing with some very, very, very big markets that are continuing to grow. And we'll get into that. Before I do that, I want to let you know a little bit about the company's background and our vision. You see, our vision is to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain, and in the process, create the largest health and wellness company in the world. See, we believe by personally connecting your vision to ours, we can create miracles. And that's exactly what happened back in March of 2002 when Jim and Kathy Coover and John Anderson founded our company, Isogenics. Jim and Kathy have a wealth of industry background, both in the network marketing industry and in traditional corporate America. Jim was at the forefront of leading a company in 1980 from zero to $1 billion in 27 months. And Kathy has a wealth of information and knowledge and participation in the industry of network marketing herself. So she leads by example. You see, they have a mission to transform lives. When they teamed up with John Anderson, that's him at the bottom of the screen, miracles started to occur, and they started to realize that they were onto something. You see, John Anderson spent the last 30 years of his life going around the world through indigenous countries, through rainforests, looking for the best of what nature had to offer for the human body. And it took off. He created something that everybody wanted, and it went from small to big real fast. And we started to realize that we had a rocket ship on our hands. And so did Inc. magazine. In their list of the 5,000 fastest growing private companies in the world, they ranked us up there. And we continue to set records. Today, we have international offices in Hong Kong, Australia, Taiwan, the United States, and in Mexico and in Puerto Rico. So we're an international company as we speak, and doors will continue to open up countries after countries after countries. Why? Because we have things that people need and that people want. It's for that reason that we keep showing up in successful magazines, on television. We're being written about by successful authors, often, not infrequently, very frequently. And they're starting to say that this company that no one has heard about is going from small to big real fast. In fact, from 2002 to 2010, our company has amassed over $1 billion worth of cumulative sales, and it continues to grow. It continues to grow. I find that very interesting and very funny. Why? Because most people haven't heard of our company. They really don't know what we're all about. And yet, we're concentrating on some major challenges that people face today. Health crisis that's plaguing the world, not just the United States. We have an obesity epidemic in our hands. Toxicity is plaguing our air, our food, our water, and we'll talk about that in a second. Our food is bankrupt, and people are realizing stress that's really damaging on their bodies, both physically and financial. And so let's talk about this health crisis that's on our hands. You know, there have been billions of dollars in research, and our health is still declining. Currently, 1 in 2 people will develop cancer. Back in 1950, that was 1 in 12. Today, 1.3 million people will be diagnosed, or women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. That's a 30% increase in the last 25 years. And the rise in our immune diseases continue to plague us. There's an obesity problem in the United States. Obesity contributes to over 300,000 deaths per year, and fully over 83% of people in North America are overweight. And the challenges that are the onset of these degenerative diseases that occur with obesity are staggering. In fact, we can look at the rise of obesity over the course of the last 13 years or so just by looking at people's body mass indexes in the United States. In 1995, most of the nation was relatively healthy with a low body mass index. Over the course of the next 13 years, people's body mass index have grown from 10 to 14% to upwards of 30%, and it continues to grow. Why? There's many reasons why. I mean, food is one of the reasons why. Now, obviously, this is not a real picture. This is a photoshopped image of a giraffe in Africa, just to give you an idea of what happens when Western civilization enters into different countries. It's not a real picture, but this is a real picture. And the rise of childhood obesity is taking place as we speak. Clearly, 1/4 of every child in the United States today suffers from childhood obesity. And it's been estimated that in the next 10 years, 1 out of every 2 children can be obese. And so why are we progressing the way we're progressing? Why have we gone from what man used to be like to what man is today? We happen to believe a major contributing factor towards obesity in the world today is in toxicity in our environment. Think about it. The water we drink tends to be contaminated. The air we breathe tends to be polluted. We wear cosmetics. We're exposed to phenol and formaldehyde in everything we touch today. Our food supply is either chemically sprayed when it's grown, genetically modified, hormone induced, antibiotic induced, or grown from ground that's literally nutritionally bankrupt. Well, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is that all of these toxins enter into your body. And it's very simple how the human body has been designed. Just think about this. If a toxin gets into your body, or a pollutant, or some kind of impurity gets into the cells of your body, every single cell has a built-in defense mechanism. It will absorb a little tiny bit of extra fat and a little bit of extra water to surround that impurity, stuff it to the side, and that's how it deals with it. And so people are retaining 5, 10, 25, 50, 100 pounds of excess fat that's there as a protective mechanism. This is weight or fat that's on your body that's not necessarily going to come off even if you make a conscious decision to go running 3 to 5 miles a day, 5 days a week. This is a protective measure of fat. And so people are getting fatter. And so what do people do? Most people choose to go into a traditional diet. Now, here are the challenges with dieting. First of all, I should tell you that we believe that diets don't work. But Americans right now are spending $186 million a day on weight loss products that have a 99% failure rate. They don't work. And why don't they work? Because they don't address the causal factor of their body retaining fat, and that is impurities and pollutants inside of the cells. You see, when people start off, they start off with a bunch of impurities in their cells with a bunch of fat on their body. And so most people choose to go on a diet. What is a diet? To us, a diet is nothing more than a caloric restrictive program. What that means is you will reduce your caloric intake, or the amount of food that you eat, and you will lose weight. But the weight you tend to lose won't be the fat. Why? Think about this. It makes so much sense. I mean, it really does make so much sense. Your body needs a certain amount of nutrients just to sustain normal bodily functioning. And if it's not getting it through the foods that you're consuming, it's going to take it from where those nutrients exist in your body. Well, unfortunately, those nutrients don't exist inside of your fat. They exist in your lean tissue, your muscle, your bone, your internal organs, and your essential body fluids. And so when you go on a diet, do you lose weight? The answer is yes, you do lose weight. But the weight you tend to lose is lean tissue, the weight you don't want to lose. And so your body starts to consume the good and does nothing for the bad. Here's the challenge. The challenge is you can't starve yourself forever or you will die. And so you start to eat again and you rebound. Now think about if you've ever been on a diet. Have you lost some weight? Did you gain it back? Did it come back with some friends? And did it become harder to get rid of the next time around? These are yo-yo cycles, so don't fall for gimmicks. Don't fall for any challenges out there where there's really not any product efficacy behind what people are promoting. Look for real nutritional science to help the body do what it's designed to do. You see, unlike dieting, cleansing differs dramatically. Starts off the same, the human body, but we focus on the removal of those impurities from the cell. And when the cell removes those impurities, the cell also relinquishes control of that excess fat. And then people get onto a maintenance program, and that weight or that fat never comes back. And if you don't think that your body's retaining fat in your cells, or that your cells are too small to really mount up to anything, think again. The average adult body is made up of 70 to 100 trillion cells. And if you don't know how big a trillion is, let me give you an illustration. If you took 1,000,000 seconds and broke that down into days, 1,000,000 seconds equals about 13 days. But if you went from 1,000,000 seconds to 1,000,000,000 seconds, you would go from 13 days to 33 years. And if you went from 1,000,000,000 seconds to 1,000,000,000,000 seconds, it would go from 33 years to 29,700 BC. And you're made up of 70 to 100 trillion cells that are all functioning in the same capacity, storing a little bit of extra microscopic piece of fat. Multiply that by that 70 trillion and you can start to see that if there were an equation to determine the physiological makeup of a person, certainly one of the major factors in that equation today would be our exposure to our toxic environment, which we can't escape. And so what does isogenics do? Isogenics brings us super food at low levels of caloric intake, but very high levels of dense nutrients, bioavailable at the cells to make healthy cells. Our flagship product is our Isoline shake. It comes in both chocolate and vanilla. It's strictly from an undenatured New Zealand whey source. What does that mean, undenatured? Undenatured simply means that it doesn't undergo the pasteurization process, which means the branched chain amino acids are bioavailable. They can be used by your cells. Your cells will absorb them and they will use them to build healthy cells. What's the significance of New Zealand? Well, in New Zealand, on the herds of cattle there, they're grazed on grasslands that have never been chemically treated. They're never antibiotic or hormone induced. They're the purest source of whey on the face of the planet. I challenge people on a daily basis, find me another food source with as much absorbable amino acids that is this high in active enzymes, which is supposed to be in our regular food, but it's not because our grounds have been depleted, for under 250 calories per serving. This shake is changing people's lives. When you follow that up with a magnificent product called Cleanse for Life, which is a juice that stimulates the excretion of the impurities from the cells. It comes in both liquid and in powder form. This is a magical juice. But don't be fooled. It's not like those one fruit wonders or one juice ingredient wonders, or one or two ingredient juices that you've commonly seen over the last 5 to 10 years all over the place with very fancy marketing campaigns. Not Cleanse for Life. You haven't seen this. Why? Because we take a holistic approach to full body nutritional cleansing, which means your body needs more than what one ingredient can offer. This Cleanse for Life is an abundance of ingredients. It is a base of aloe vera, and it is probably the most impactful ingredient or juice or product that you can put into your body to aid your body to do what it knows how to do on its own. I guess I should say at this point that when we speak about this transition of people's bodies, isogenics is not the miracle. I want to repeat that. Isogenics is not the miracle. Your body is. You see, we believe that given the right environment, your body is a powerhouse of vibrancy. It can regenerate itself. It can rejuvenate itself. And it can heal itself, provided it has what it needs at the cellular level to do that. And the Isogenics product line is doing that for many people. We have another product that's called Ionic Supreme. It's loaded with nutrients from around the globe, 172 active ingredients. All of them are considered high-level adaptogens. Adaptogens aid in the recovery of stressed cells for whatever reason, whether it's physical stress, mental stress, any type of stress. This product is a wonder product. 1 ounce in the morning, 1 ounce in the night does wonders. If you're feeling too hyper, these adaptogens will bring you right down and calm you down. If you feel too sluggish throughout the course of the day, instead of reaching for your cup of coffee or your diet Pepsi or your diet soda, have an ounce of this. It'll pick you back up. That's what adaptogens do. They aid in the recovery of these stress cells. Athletes love this product, and it comes both in liquid and in powdered format as well. It's an unbelievable product line. Bottom line is, this company has products that can help you every single day. Isogenics greens, for example. 1 scoop of this greens gives you more green leafy nutrition than what most people get all week long. Just 1 scoop. 1 scoop mixed with water. Ice Delight chocolates. Decadent Belgium dark chocolate that are infused with some powerful vitamins and amino acids specifically designed to release your brain's feel-good chemicals. Dopamine, serotonin, things of that nature. Heighten your mood, help decrease any cravings that you may have. And the list goes on and on. But the products are really helping people. Men, women, young, old, athletic, non-athletic, people from all walks. They're real people that have real results with the product. And we tell people all the time, you know what? If we can show you a way to lose 5 to 20 pounds of fat on a 9-day program without dieting and eating chocolate, would that be something you would want to know about? And for the most part, most people say, absolutely. Tell me about it. Tell me what these people have done. This is a picture of Tina. Tina's an office manager for a chiropractor in upstate New York. For the last 17 years, this is how they've known Tina. Tina was told by the chiropractor that they were going to engage in this program, and they wanted Tina to join them. They wanted to see who can get the best results, and Tina was a bit reluctant, but when she got on the program, her results were quite staggering. You see, in 8 months, Tina transformed her body from a size 22 at 240 pounds to a size 6, 135 pounds. Pretty dramatic. And she continues to have those results today. I just spoke with the chiropractor who she works for, and she says, Tina's rocking and rolling. She feels good. I mean, she hasn't changed over the course of the last 18 months. She's just getting smaller and smaller, and she feels like $1,000,000. We've got another friend. Her name is Kim Olson. We saw this picture when we were first exposed to this company. And we saw how this transformation of this woman took place that was amazing. And then when we came to meet her and know her as a friend, her story was actually a tearjerker. I mean, she would, if you've never been overweight, you don't know how it feels. If you've never been that big, you don't know how it feels. But don't make the mistake of thinking it's just for people who need to lose a ton of body fat. There are a lot of other people who fall into these categories, many other. A friend of ours, Tom McAllister. Again, these are people we know. He goes from traveling internationally back and forth to China, has a dramatic transformation in his body, and loses a ton of fat off of his body. And you know what? His life has been completely transformed. And when you look at these before and after pictures side by side, you get an idea of what happens. By the way, this didn't take long. This took Tom about 6 or 7 months. We see Mary. Mary is a nurse in Schenectady, New York, and her body was dramatically changed in 8 months. Dramatically. I mean, doesn't even look like the same person. We work with a person in North Carolina. His name is Jimmy Hitchcock. He's a former NFL pro football player, drafted out of the University of North Carolina by the New England Patriots, played with Tom Brady, got traded to the Minnesota Vikings, played with Randall Cunningham in 1998. They went 15-1, almost had a perfect season. He had a NFL record. I mean, for yards after interceptions. And they had a dramatic season, 15-1. Well, this is his picture after a popular program called P90X. This is after he was on that program for 30 days. But this is his before pictures with Isagenix. Well, he gets onto the Isagenix product line, and this happened over the course of about 5 months. Dramatically, he changes. He goes from what he used to look like to what he looks like today. These are real people again, with real results. Real people with real results. So not just people who are obese, but people from all walks of life who want dramatic results. Jimmy is an inspiration for a lot of people who maybe have been there one time in their lives and they put on some weight and it doesn't seem to come off anymore. He's a dramatic source of inspiration to let people know they can get to where they used to be and where they want to be. Today he'll tell you he's never looked like this, even in his professional football days. Derek Drummond. Derek gets on the product line and within 5 months has a total transformation of his physiology. And he still continues to have that today. You see, he's new to the program. He just started. What's going to happen to Derek over the course of the next 12 months? Who knows, but I'll tell you what, his life is never going to be the same. And so, Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, writes about us and really mentions Isagenix by name in his books, and he actually recommends the product line to a lot of his friends and his clients. John Gray, the famous author of Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, I mean, he actually enjoys the benefits from Isagenix, both from a consumption standpoint, and he's out there sharing the information with a lot of people. And guess what the company is doing? The company is rewarding him. Why? Because our compensation plan is a team building, rewarding type of compensation plan. What does that mean? When you come in, we have 2 teams to build. Everybody only has 2, not 3, not 5, not 8, not 10, not 12, not 15, 2. And here's the nice part about this team building compensation plan. When you extrapolate those 2 and you start to see that people will stem from people, every single time an order is placed for a product directly to the company by these individuals, they're rewarded BV. BV stands for business volume. And so the business volume starts to accumulate both on your left leg and on your right leg. And every single time you have a total of 900 points or business volume, the company rewards you 1 unit of pay. And we call that unit of pay a cycle. And that cycle is worth $54. And you can earn up to 250 cycles per week on your entire organization. Per week. Now, you're saying, well, 250 cycles, that's great. But here's what's even better. And this is the neat part of this compensation plan. Once the cycle is rewarded, they will take the difference between the volume on the left and the volume that they subtract to grant you that cycle, and they'll hold it over going towards the next 600 and 300. It's a phenomenal compensation plan. And so we measure success in these cycles that are paid out on a weekly basis. Many people on our team have have created businesses in a relatively short amount of time that are cycling 10, 15, 20 times per week. We have individuals on our team that in 8 months are cycling over 40 cycles per week. Now think about that for a second. In 8 months, over 40 cycles per week. How many years does it take a lawyer to become a lawyer? I would venture to guess 5, maybe 6 or 7. And guess what? We have people on our team making that same type of income within 8 months. We also have people on this team earning over 400 cycles per week. Now you can do the math on that, but I will tell you, it becomes very staggering and it's a lifestyle change. And what the company does is they send you this credit card and they load all this money or these credits onto your Visa card. And so this is money that they're giving to you that you can use as a debit card. It's a very, very smooth way of earning income today. And here's the most exciting part. The most exciting part of this whole opportunity is that the timing couldn't be better. You see, what I'm about to share with you is the same information that's shared in most of your prestigious business schools in the United States. Harvard, Yale, Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania, and the list goes on, Stanford. I mean, they tell us that all companies go into certain stages of development. And the first stage is known as foundation. You see, it's in that foundation stage of development that a company will grow, and that foundation stage of development will usually last between 3 to 5 years. In network marketing, the challenge is most of these companies fail in the first 3 to 5 years. 80% of all the network marketing companies that surface actually fail in your first 3 to 5 years. Only 1 in 1,000 makes it past 5 years. Why? Because it's during this foundation stage of development that a company spends a lot of money. There's a huge financial consideration for taking a product, a good, or a service from development to the marketplace. And most of them go out of business because they can't sustain that huge financial consideration. But if they're lucky enough, and if they're fortunate enough to get past that foundation stage of development, they'll go into a concentration phase of development. And that concentration phase of development can last any of these companies between 4 to 6 years. And it's during that time that there really is not very much product recognition. There's no brand name recognition in the marketplace. But if they can plug along long enough to reach a point in time that we call critical mass, they will hit a momentum. Critical mass is simply defined as when a company's products, goods, or services go from being relatively obscure or unknown in the marketplace to popular. They hit the scene nationally and they become market driven. And we can illustrate numerous examples of companies that have done this. In the network marketing industry back in 1984, there was a company by the name of New Skin International that plugged along for 5 years. Well, in their 5th year, they hit critical mass. The company went from $40 million a year in 1989 to $500 million a year in 1991. It was a dramatic time for that company's growth. You see, when a company hits critical mass and goes into momentum, that growth chart goes from being almost flat line to almost vertical. Almost vertical. The nice part about it is that if you can catch one of these companies in that momentum cycle of development, it will last between 3 to 5 years before they hit the final stage of development that's known as stability. Stability will last the company for the life of the company. But concentrate on that momentum cycle of development, because it's in that momentum cycle of development, in that time frame, that 3 to 5 years, that these companies normally put on 80% of their distribution force. 80%. Why do we go through this information with you right now? Because Isagenix has yet to hit critical mass. They are not in this momentum cycle of development. If you go out and ask 10 people, have you ever heard of Isagenix? Have you ever heard of Isagenix? I would venture to guess that 9 out of 10 of them, if not all of them, will tell you they have no idea what it's all about. They have no idea what it is. And if they say they know what it is, ask them, what is it? Because there's a lot of genixes out there. Patty and I like to say there's just metagenics, dysagenics, natagenics. Ask them specifically, what is it? And you'll prove to yourself that the timing is perfect. And it's one of the most exciting things about what we've got going on with Isogenics. So we would encourage you, get started. We start everybody off with a 30-day supply of our product line. It's called our 30-day cleansing and fat burning system. The retail cost of this is $382. But by setting up an account, you can get it at wholesale. You see, Patty and I do not retail this to most of our friends and our families. We just don't do that. All we do is set up accounts for them, and we let them go and purchase what they want to purchase. But think about it for a second. For $268, you're going to replace 68 meals. That comes up to $3.82 per meal. $3.82 per meal. Where can you eat this high levels of nutrients? This is a sustenance. People are always going to need to eat with this little cost. And so now I hope you have the vision of what we saw. You see, these are the 5 criteria that Patty and I have used over the last 17 years to analyze these companies. The company, is it well capitalized? Is it a well managed company? And the answer is yes. The product line, is it a visual product line? Is it consumable? That's a must. Is it exclusive? That's a bonus factor. And if it's emotional, that's a home run. The team building compensation plan. The compensation plan needs to be very exciting for everybody across the board. From the person just getting in to the person who's been in for 2 to 4 years to 5 to 6 to 10 years. Everybody has to be excited about the compensation plan, and it has to be simple, because simplicity is evidence of the most advanced teaching. If you can keep your program simple, people will do it. You have to have cutting edge business building tools and training. We do. When you set up an account with Isogenics, you will be given a self-replicating website that costs $20 million to produce. And no, they don't charge you for it on a monthly basis. It's given to you. It's yours. There's no monthly fee to keep that self-replicating website. It will become your back office and your office at home. And like I said before, the timing couldn't be better. It's going to go from small to big very, very fast. And so we're making a difference, one person at a time. I would encourage you, if this information at all has struck a chord with you, get back in touch with the person who gave you access to this webinar, to this information. Or you can fill out the form that'll come up after this, and one of our people will get back in touch with you. Patty and I make a personal commitment to any of you who make a decision to come on board our team, that we will be there for you. We will work hand in hand with you. We will place you in an environment that is producing one of the fastest growing teams, not only in our company, but in our industry. Again, I want to thank you for Patty and myself and say, may God bless you, and may your days be blessed all the rest of your life. And who are you going to help today? It's one person at a time. Thank you.